The silence slide into nothingness. Soft ambient music fades in. A narrator speaks slowly, reflectively, over cinematic visuals of a person waking up to another gray, lifeless morning. You don't remember when it started, do you? One day, you were alive, really alive. And now, you wake up, check your phone, scroll through noise you don't even care about, brush your teeth, go to work, smile at people you don't feel close to, answer questions you don't care about, and then come home just to repeat the same thing again tomorrow. Somewhere between the chaos and the quiet, the noise and the numbness, you began to disappear. And the most terrifying part? You didn't even notice. You're still functioning, still moving, still showing up on time, still doing what's expected. But that fire that once lived inside you, it's dim now. What happened? Maybe it was the job you took just to pay the bills. Maybe it was the relationship you stayed in because being alone felt scarier than being unloved. Maybe it was the dream you buried under the weight of being realistic. Or maybe it was death by 1,000 tiny compromises. Saying yes when you wanted to say no, smiling when you wanted to scream, staying silent when your soul begged you to speak. Bit by bit, inch by inch, you traded your identity for acceptance. You exchanged your truth for peace. And in the process, you started to vanish. Let's be brutally honest. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're just exhausted from pretending to be someone you're not. Every day, you wear a mask that grows heavier. A mask of who you think they want you to be. Polite, professional, productive, pleasant. But under that mask is someone you barely recognize anymore. Remember when you used to laugh without thinking about how you looked? Remember when you chased something just because it made you feel alive? Remember when you had dreams so big they scared you? That person, that version of you, still exists. But they've been buried under expectations, obligations, disappointments, and worst of all, silence. The silence where your voice should have been. The silence where your no should have stood. The silence where your dreams used to scream. Cut to visuals of a character, resembling your brand mascot, walking alone down a long, crowded street. Everyone's wearing masks. No one notices he's fading, pixel by pixel. There's a difference between existing and living. Existing is what you've been doing. Checking boxes, hitting deadlines, following rules. Living, that's something else entirely. Living means being honest with yourself. It means saying, I don't want this, even when others expect you to. It means disappointing people, so you stop disappointing your own soul. But you've been trained to do the opposite, haven't you? You were taught to be nice, to be agreeable, to keep the peace, to not make it about you. So you shrink a little every day. You let things slide. You bury your emotions. You tell yourself, it's not that bad. But it is that bad, because you are disappearing, and no one is going to save you from it, except you. You see, the hardest truth of all is this. Losing yourself doesn't happen in one big moment. It happens gradually, slowly, quietly, softly. So softly that you don't even hear the sound of your own soul whispering, please, don't forget me. The music swells. We see a close-up of the character standing at the edge of a cliff, looking down at a dark void, a metaphor for numbness. But here's the good news. If you can lose yourself slowly, you can also find yourself slowly. One breath at a time, one truth at a time, one decision at a time. The process is hard, uncomfortable, even painful, but it's not impossible. And it starts the moment you decide, I'm done fading away. The lie of the life you settled for. Scene opens with visuals of city life. Fast-paced people, traffic, noise. The main character stands still as the world moves past in a blur. Narrator speaks over gentle but haunting music. They told you to go to school, get a degree, get a job, get married, buy a house, have kids, retire. And you believe them. Because why wouldn't you? Everyone around you is doing the same thing. No one questioned the pattern. No one paused long enough to ask, is this the life I actually want? Or the life I was programmed to chase? So you followed the script, and you did what you were told. And maybe, for a while, it even felt good. Like achievement, like progress, like safety. But slowly, cracks started to form. You started waking up and wondering why everything still felt empty, even though you had it all. You started laughing less, sleeping worse, dreaming rarely. And when you tried to explain it to others, they just shrugged it off. You're just tired. You should be grateful. Everyone feels this way sometimes. No, Not everyone is supposed to feel disconnected from their own life. You weren't meant to feel this lost. You weren't meant to numb your emotions just to get through the day. You weren't meant to settle for a life that looks good but feels hollow. The truth? You traded authenticity for acceptance. And it's killing your spirit, slowly but surely. Visuals of the main character sitting at a dinner table, surrounded by people, yet staring blankly into space. A voice says everything he's thinking, but can't say aloud. You smile when you want to cry. You say, "I'm fine," when you're breaking inside. You laugh along even though nothing's funny anymore. You feel like a ghost in your own body, a passenger in your own life. Because somewhere along the way, you stopped living your truth and started living their version of success. But here's what they don't tell you. Success is a trap if it's not tied to meaning. The corner office, the six-figure salary, the curated Instagram life. None of it matters if your soul isn't in it. If you have to numb yourself every night just to survive your day, that's not success. That's suffering in disguise. It's not that you're broken. It's that your environment, the noise, the rules, the expectations, was never designed to let your true self breathe. You were taught to perform, not to be. But real freedom, real peace, it comes the moment you decide to stop performing. We see the character walking past a mirror, and for a moment, sees a flicker of his younger, freer self staring back at him. Remember that version of you? The one who used to believe in magic? Who saw possibility in everything? Who wasn't afraid to dream? He's not gone. He's just been buried. And every time you say yes to things that aren't aligned with your spirit, you bury him deeper. But it's not too late. Not even close. You're not stuck. You've just been conditioned. And the beautiful, terrifying, liberating truth is this. You can unlearn it. Every lie, every rule, every layer of self-betrayal. You can burn the script and write your own. But first, you have to admit you're not okay. And that's hard, isn't it? Because you're the strong one. The one who has it all together. The one people depend on. But who do you depend on? When was the last time you showed yourself the compassion you show everyone else? Visuals now shift. The character sits alone at night, lights off, phone face down. Silence. He breathes deeply, first time in a while. You're not weak for feeling this way. You're human. And being human means sometimes you break. But in those cracks, something extraordinary happens. You start to see the light trying to break through. This is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your return. Return to your truth, your passion, your purpose, yourself. And piece by piece, you can begin to rebuild. But this time, not as who they told you to be, as who you were always meant to be. The voice you keep ignoring. Cinematic visuals begin with the character standing in the middle of a vast, empty field under a cloudy sky. Wind rushes past as the narrator speaks, slow and grounded. There's a voice inside you. You know the one I'm talking about. The one that whispers at night. When everything is quiet. When the noise fades and you're finally alone with yourself. It says, this isn't who you are. You're meant for more than this. You're not supposed to live like this. But every day, you silence it. Not because you don't believe it, but because it hurts too much to listen. Because if that voice is right, then it means you've spent years living wrong. And that's a heavy truth to hold. So instead, you numb it. With your phone. With Netflix. With work. With food. With endless distractions. You say, I'm too tired. I don't have time to think about that. Maybe later. But later never comes. Because deep down, you know, if you ever really stopped and listened, everything would have to change. Scene shifts. The character is walking through a hallway filled with doors. Each door represents a version of life he could have lived, some open, some locked, some glowing. The life you want is not impossible. It's just on the other side of who you're pretending to be. You can't become your true self while clinging to a false identity. You can't step into your future while dragging the weight of a past you never questioned. And maybe that's the real fear, not failure, not rejection, but becoming someone who no longer fits the world you've built. Because that might mean walking away from everything and everyone. But let me ask you this. What's the cost of staying? What's the price of silence? Of pretending? Of fitting into a life that shrinks you? Let me be blunt. If you don't choose your life, someone else will choose it for you. And they won't choose it for your happiness. They'll choose it for your convenience, your obedience, your usefulness to them. That's what's at stake here. Your soul or your comfort. You can't have both. Cut to character now staring into a mirror. For a moment, the reflection is not him. It's his inner child, looking up with hope. You were born curious, creative, wild, brave, and somewhere along the way, you were taught that wasn't safe. That you had to trade magic for logic, joy for productivity, truth for politeness. But here's the thing they never told you. That voice inside you, it never left. You just stopped listening. It's still there. In the things that make your heart race. In the dreams you have when no one is watching. In the ideas that feel too big to say out loud. It's there in the discomfort, the restlessness, the tears you can't explain. Because your soul is trying to come back home. To remind you of who you are, who you were, and who you could still be. You don't need to fix yourself. You need to unfold yourself. Peel back the layers of what you were told to be, and rediscover what you were born to be. That's what healing really is. It's not adding more. It's taking away everything that's not really you. Scene now shows the character slowly removing a heavy backpack filled with labels. People pleaser, perfect, strong one, success, nice, normal. One by one, he lets them fall. You don't owe anyone a version of yourself that makes them comfortable. You don't have to keep explaining your emptiness to people who only understand your smile. This is your life, not your parents, not society's, not your bosses, not even your partners. Yours. And it's slipping by, minute by minute, day by day. So let me ask you something, and I want you to answer honestly. When was the last time you felt proud of the life you were living? Not just on paper, not just in highlight reels, but in your soul. When was the last time you looked in the mirror and saw you, not the version you perform for the world? Final scene. The character sits quietly on a mountaintop at sunrise, eyes closed. For the first time, peace. If you're brave enough to stop running, and still enough to listen, you'll hear it. That voice, the one you buried, the one that's been waiting. It doesn't shout. It doesn't beg. It just says, welcome back. Let's begin again. The price of your silence. Scene opens with the characters sitting in a dark room, lit only by the glow of their phone. Notifications flash across the screen, messages, missed calls, reminders. Still, they feel completely alone. A soft, almost whispering voice begins to speak. There's a price for staying silent, for holding it all in, for pretending every day that you're okay when you're not. And it's not just sadness. It's not just anxiety. It's erosion of your spirit, your identity, your aliveness. Every time you suppress what you truly feel, every time you betray what you know is right for you, you lose a little more of yourself. Not all at once, not in some dramatic explosion, but slowly, quietly, 1,000 tiny abandonments. Until one day, you look in the mirror and realize you don't even recognize who you've become. You've convinced yourself that this is just life, that being tired all the time is normal, that feeling numb is just adulthood, that dreams are for the young and foolish. But that's the lie you were sold. And deep down, you know it. Visuals of the character walking through a crowd, wearing a mask. Everyone else is wearing one too. They nod, smile, pretend. But no one is actually being themselves. You're not the only one. So many people feel what you feel. But we've all been trained to keep it hidden, to wear the mask, smile on cue, and keep the machine running. Because if you stopped, even for a second, you might unravel everything. And that's the terrifying truth, isn't it? That if you were honest about how lost you feel, how heavy it all is, you might not be able to keep going like this. But maybe that's the point. Maybe you're not supposed to keep going like this. You were not born to blend in, to be silent, to shrink, to suffer politely. You were born to be real, to be honest, to be alive. But being alive takes courage, because it means feeling everything, facing everything, including the truth you've been running from. This life you've built isn't the one you wanted. That's hard to admit, but it's also where everything begins to change. Because once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. And once you feel how disconnected you've become, you can't pretend anymore. You can either go numb or wake up. Scene shows the character standing at the edge of a cliff, looking out at a vast horizon. The sky is cracked with dawn light, a new beginning waiting. But they hesitate. Change is terrifying. Letting go feels like dying. But ask yourself, what's scarier, staying stuck in a life that's slowly killing your soul, or risking it all to come back to yourself? You've already survived so much. You've already made it through dark seasons you thought would break you. You are not fragile. You are not weak. You are not too late. You are becoming. And yes, becoming means breaking first. Unraveling. Questioning. Facing the parts of you that you buried to make others comfortable. But you deserve to live a life that doesn't require you to hide. You deserve mornings that feel hopeful, days that feel meaningful, nights that feel peaceful. And it all starts with this: telling the truth. To yourself, to others, to the world. The character finally speaks aloud, voice trembling but sure. I'm not okay, and I don't want to live like this anymore. The room is silent, but something has shifted. A weight lifts. That's the first step. Not fixing everything, not having a perfect plan, just being real, saying, I'm lost, but I want to find myself again. I'm hurting, but I believe healing is possible. I forgot who I was, but I'm ready to remember. Let me tell you something no one else will. You are still in there. Beneath the fear, beneath the performance, beneath the exhaustion, your soul is not gone. It's just waiting, patiently, for you to come back. And when you do, when you finally choose truth over comfort, clarity begins to appear. You start to see which parts of your life were real and which were never truly yours. Final scene. The character stands before a fork in the road. One path is well-paved, crowded, familiar. The other is quiet, overgrown, uncertain, but glowing faintly. The old path is known, predictable, safe, but it costs too much. The new path is uncertain, uncomfortable, wild, but it's yours. So ask yourself, which path will you choose? Not someday, not when it's convenient. Now, because whether you realize it or not, you're already making the choice. Every day, every decision, every silence. Remember who you are. Scene opens with the character walking through a quiet forest trail. Sunlight breaks through the trees. The pace is slower now, calmer, reflective. At some point, you stop chasing. You stop proving. You stop performing. And you begin to return. Not to who the world told you to be, but to who you were before the world got to you. Before the expectations. Before the pressure. Before the mask. You begin to remember that you were born with light in your eyes. That you laughed loudly. That you danced without music. That you asked big questions. That you felt everything deeply. That version of you isn't gone. He's not lost. She's not broken. They're just waiting for you to come back. Scene shifts. A child version of the character runs freely across a field, barefoot, smiling. The adult watches from a distance, eyes full of tears. Life didn't erase your soul. It just buried it under years of survival. But now, finally, you're ready to stop surviving and start living. That means making different choices. Harder ones. Real ones. You will disappoint people. You will walk away from things that no longer fit. You will feel fear, so much fear. But what's on the other side is something most people never find. Peace. The kind that comes not from having it all figured out, but from finally being in alignment with who you really are. Visual. The character begins to rebuild their life. A new morning routine, new people, long walks, journaling, laughing again. The air feels lighter. You learn to say no without guilt, to rest without shame, to speak without shrinking, to love without losing yourself. You learn that your worth is not in how much you do, or how well you fit in, or how much others approve. Your worth is in your being, your essence, your soul, and it was never up for debate. Let's get real. The world is loud, chaotic, demanding. It will try to pull you back in, into the noise, into the hustle, into the game. But now you know better. You've seen the truth. You've tasted what it's like to be free, to be you. And once you've tasted that, you can't go back. Not really. Scene fades into the character sitting on a bench as the sun sets, writing something in a notebook. The voiceover softens, like a personal letter. There's something I want you to understand, something most people go their whole lives without realizing. You don't have to become someone else to be loved. You don't have to earn your place in the world. You don't have to keep proving you're enough. You already are, even with your doubts, even with your wounds, even with your unfinished healing. And if you're still here, if you've made it through this far, then let this be your moment. Right here, right now, to make the promise, to draw the line, to whisper the words that will change everything. I'm coming home to myself, no matter what it takes. Because the truth is, you were never really lost. You were just disconnected. Scene ends with the character standing tall, overlooking a city. It's the same city from the beginning, but everything feels different now. Because they're different. The journey doesn't end here. It's only beginning. There will be days when you doubt again, when you feel afraid, when the old version of you knocks on the door. But now, you have tools. You have wisdom. You have self-awareness. And most of all, you have choice. To return. to rebuild, to rise. Direct hit call to action. If this message found you today, it wasn't an accident. Maybe this is the wake-up call your soul has been begging for. Maybe this is your sign to stop waiting and start becoming. So I'll ask you one final time. Who are you when no one's watching? And are you finally ready to become that person? Don't let this video just inspire you for a moment. Let it ignite the rest of your life. Start small. Start scared. Start now. Just don't stay asleep. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs you. Fully awake. Fully alive. Fully you. If this video hit you somewhere deep, if you felt even a flicker of recognition, then don't let it fade. Share this message with someone else who's quietly struggling. Leave a comment telling us where you are on your journey. And if you're ready to stop losing yourself and start becoming yourself, subscribe right now. Because this channel isn't just about motivation. It's about waking up. One story, one truth, one soul at a time. Fire this as your sign. Don't scroll past it. Backhand index pointing right, tap subscribe. Clapperboard, watch another video. Speech balloon, speak your truth in the comments. You're not alone. You're not too late. And your real life is still waiting for you.